What's up, guys? Crypto Muser here with your daily news and analysis in the crypto markets. So I've been reluctant to make this video for a while now, just because I felt like I didn't have all the facts on hand. This has been going on for weeks or months now, and I've just been basically gathering the facts, figuring out what was the substance of all this. I've had my views from day one about this, but I just didn't want to make a video to try to push these views on anybody else. It is about the Ethereum free pass that William Hinman gave in that speech back in 2018, and maybe the insider trading proponents may be involved in all that, right? There were some shady deals, backdoor deals done between the Ethereum Alliance, the Ethereum co-founders like Joe Lubin and even Vitalik Buterin. There was some shadiness for sure, as Ethereum was created, and even years after when they sought to get regulation from the SEC. I think through the XRP community in the last, since this lawsuit, honestly, from the SEC, you've seen a lot of dirt being brought up from the SEC's past dealings. Obviously, they've been a corrupt agency for years, and that's known fact. But the way Ethereum and Ripple, or the Ethereum Alliance or Consensus, and Ripple have been going about business couldn't be polar opposites. Ripple has been 100% transparent since day one about everything they do. They have a quarterly release, and they show their data, their holdings, their XRP sales in those months. The Ethereum Alliance and Consensus, they do not. We don't know how much. We know how much XRP Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson have. We don't know how much Ethereum Joe Lubin or Vitalik Buterin have. So that's up to the Ethereum investors, the XRP investors. Is that something that you would like to know? I mean, a lot of people point out XRP as being centralized because Ripple owns 50 to 53% of all XRP, but that's not the case, right? Centralization isn't because a certain party owns a bunch of those coins, right? Is oil centralized because Saudi Arabia owns whatever percent of oil, or is oil centralized because the U.S. owns a certain amount of oil? I mean, no, that's not the case. What makes something decentralized or centralized is who can run the system, right? Who controls the actual blockchain themselves, right? So when I get in this video, I'm just going to point out some things, obviously, that are suspect about Ethereum. And I'm not saying XRP and Ripple are perfect. Like I'm a big proponent on this channel of XRP and Ripple, but I'm not saying that everything they do is perfect, right? So let's just get into this video. But before I do, if you guys could please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below, will be very much appreciated. But let's get right into it. So the first thing I want to talk about here is, so John Deaton tweeted this out. Someone asked him, what is the basis of your argument that XRP is more decentralized than ETH? And this has been an argument that I've seen, back and forth on Twitter for a while now. And, most, Ethereum maximalists or Bitcoin maximalists will point out and try to think or say that XRP is centralized. Like I said, because Ripple owns so much XRP. But that is just not the case. XRP is a decentralized open source blockchain that uses a consensus mechanism, doesn't use proof of work or proof of stake. It is all pre-mined, so that also makes it better for the environment. But so John Deaton goes through, I think he has 8 or 9 components to this thread that point out to why he thinks, and some people or most people in the XRP community believe, that XRP is more decentralized than Ethereum. So let's go over the thread here. So first, I said arguably. Second, I don't believe. So he says arguably because it is a conversation to be had, right? So second, I don't believe today's Ethereum or today's XRP meet the definition of a security. To answer your question, here are a few reasons. One could argue that the XRP ledger is more decentralized than the Ethereum network. Okay, let's get down to number 1. The XRP ledger is based on a consensus protocol relying on validator nodes to record and verify transactions. It achieves consensus without incentivizing any party, unlike proof of work. For consensus to be reached, at least 80% of validators must agree. There are over 170 validators and 900 nodes operating across the globe. Ripple runs only 6 validators, which means it controls less than 4% of all validators on the network. Therefore, although Ripple owns 51 to 53% of the outstanding XRP, it does not provide Ripple with the power over the XRP ledger. In fact, Ripple CTO Joel Katz, Rockstar, by the way, if you guys don't know who Joel Katz is, it's David Schwartz, that's his pseudonym, Joel Katz. So David Schwartz acknowledged that if 80% of validators voted to burn Ripple's escrow, it would happen. So that's a huge point that needs to be said. So a lot of people, another reason why people say XRP is centralized is because Ripple has all that XRP in escrow, right? And they can just dump they can dump that XRP on the token holders and cause them to lose money, right? That's always been the thing I've seen on Twitter. Oh, Ripple's just dumping on you guys. I don't know why you guys even buy XRP. Well, it's an escrow, right? And it can only be, I think it's a monthly. It can be taken out monthly. I believe it's, I want to say it's 1 billion tokens a month get taken out for the escrow to be sold by Ripple. And then whatever is not sold goes back in the escrow. So let's get back to it now. Almost always when people call XRP centralized, they cite the fact that Ripple owns the majority of XRP. Although I believe this is a fair criticism or concern regarding XRP, it doesn't make the network centralized. And that's a key point right there, guys. People constantly conflate token concentration with network centralization. They are not the same thing. Now, if the XRP ledger used a proof of stake consensus algorithm, I might have a different opinion, which brings me to my 5th reason. Number 5, there's a valid argument that today's XRP is more decentralized than Ethereum, but when Ethereum moves to proof of stake consensus, I believe that argument becomes even more stronger. I'm no expert, but I believe with a proof of stake consensus algorithm, the control of the supply can play a significant role. If true, who are the ETH whales, right? Who are the big ETH people that own all the ETH, right? We don't know. We don't know who owns all these huge wallets that own all the ETH. How much of the supply of ETH are owned by the few people or entities? What about Vitalik Buterin? How much does he own? Joe Lubin, how much ETH does he own? It's rumored it's around 10%. So that was several years ago. That was the rumor. How much does Consensus own? Right, Consensus is owned by Joe Lubin. Supposedly they have a treasury of an enormous amount of Ethereum, but he will not let it be known. This goes back to what I was saying in the beginning, where Ripple is very transparent about how much XRP they own, how they sell it, and how much the founders of Ripple own. Right, very transparent. So how much does Consensus own? Mike Novogratz was an early investor in Ethereum. How much Ethereum does he own? JP Morgan now is known that they're the original investors in Ethereum. Basically, it could be said that they basically own Ethereum at this point because they are basically backing Consensus, and Consensus basically runs Ethereum. So this is where it gets tricky. I mean, people like to call XRP the banker's coin, but if you go really by the original banker coin would be Ethereum because it's backed by JP Morgan. So JP Morgan, along with owning Ethereum's infrastructure via CSI. So that's another thing about it. CSI is a JP Morgan company that now owns most of the Consensus and now owns MetaMask, which these are facts that are coming out all of a sudden in the last couple weeks and months that people had no idea, right? That they were trying to hide these facts to the investors of Ethereum because obviously if Ethereum investors know that your coin is basically a shadow-backed coin by JP Morgan, then they kind of have some serious questions about that, right? So let's keep going. Like I said, it's fair criticism or concern that Ripple owns as much XRP, so much XRP. I believe Brad Garlinghouse recognized this concern when he created the rolling monthly cryptographic escrow. I assume Ripple publishes I assume Ripple publishes the quarterly XRP reports to also help address this concern. So that goes to what I was saying. They're very, very transparent. They have a quarterly reports showing how much XRP comes out of escrow and how much is sold and how much is put back in escrow, right? I mean, as a investor in XRP, that gives me some at least a better understanding of what Ripple's doing with all this XRP, right? If I didn't know what they were doing, and if they obviously if they own all this XRP and they're just being shady about it, and you don't know how much they're selling or how much they were taking out of the escrow, then you'd have concerns, right? But the fact that they are so transparent about this makes me feel a little more comfortable about being involved in XRP. As an ETH holder, which I'm an ETH holder, by the way, to full disclosure, I hold ETH too. I believe in Ethereum for sure. So is John Deaton. So as an ETH holder, I'd like similar transparency regarding Ethereum, especially as it moves to proof of stake, especially when you consider that the whale purchases of Ethereum's ICO were disguised in multiple wallets and emails. So he points down to this video where it's Joe Lubin, co-creator of Ethereum. This is back, I believe, in 2016 or 17, where he was talking about, or even earlier than that, I believe, he was talking about that they can disguise the purchases of Ethereum in the ICO, right? These huge investors, they could disguise them and put them in actually different, several wallets. So it didn't look like one person was investing in Ethereum in the beginning. So, and what that means is there could be just a group of like a handful, half a dozen of people that were the original investors in Ethereum that basically control the supply, and we don't know. And this video is basically Joe Lubin explaining how people can do this. So there's definitely some suspect issues surrounding Ethereum and the founders since the beginning of the inception of Ethereum. So this is what's coming out, and especially due to the lawsuit with Ripple. You saw a lot of Ethereum. You saw Joe Lubin, Vitalik Buterin calling XRP a shitcoin, and you guys just deserve this. You guys are security. There was a lot of name calling when this lawsuit came up against Ripple and XRP, and it was, I was dumbfounded by it. How can, we're all in this together in a crypto family and community, and to see so many haters out there saying that like Ripple and XRP deserve this from the SEC was astounding, honestly, when I first, saw it. So all of a sudden, this new information is coming up about Ethereum. It kind of opens your eyes to, why was this lawsuit, brought on Ripple in the first place? Ethereum kind of has a lot of, even though at first they were just about smart contracts, but all of a sudden Joe Lubin has, with Consensus, they have Quorum, which is JP Morgan, basically the JP Morgan coin, which was, a direct competitor to Ripple. So just questions need to be asked here. Was JP Morgan backing Ethereum, and did they get the SEC to file the lawsuit against Ripple to, basically, put them out of business, right? And steal their business? These are questions that need to be answered. And this is why we need an investigation on the SEC on how and why this lawsuit was filed against Ripple. Because it seems like it was just shady from day one, right? And I'm not going to get into the Hinman emails and all that stuff. That's for another day. But let's just continue on with this thread. So finally, when it comes to the centralization question, I prefer using the Bahamas test. The Bahamas test asks a simple question. If the primary promoters of developers or developers behind the token suddenly leave and go to the Bahamas, disappearing forever, would the token survive, right? So if Ripple, with Brad Garlinghouse, CEO, Chris Larson, the owner, and David Schwartz, the CTO, if they closed the doors of Ripple and disappeared to the Bahamas, would XRP survive? Some argue that XRP would die. I don't believe so, and I don't believe so either. I know for a fact that dozens and dozens of other developers that are utilizing the XRP ledger would continue on, right? But if Vitalik Buterin, if Joe Lubin's company Consensus, etc., were to disappear and go to the Bahamas, would Ethereum survive? Several months ago, Mark Cuban debated some Bitcoin maximalists on Clubhouse, and Mark won, by the way. I haven't seen that debate. But Mark did comment, however, that he believed Vitalik would figure it all out. If Vitalik walked away, would Mark Cuban remain invested in Ethereum? Would Cathie Wood remain invested in Ethereum? Would Raoul Pal be invested in Ethereum? I'm not implying. I don't know the. I'm not implying I know the answer because I'm not smart enough to know the answer. I'm just answering the question of why I believe an argument exists that XRP is more decentralized. Now, regardless of anyone's opinion related to XRP or Ethereum, objectively speaking, the SEC's claims related to XRP are utterly absurd. But others like, this is Panos, founder of Digital Generation Fin, Hammertoe, that's, I believe, Matt Hamilton, and Joel Katz, David Schwartz, better answer the question. This is a good resource. So he's pointing to this, why XRP is the most misunderstood cryptocurrency. And this is basically, anybody who believes that XRP is centralized, I point you guys to this this article here that basically goes over step by step on why XRP is not centralized and why it is a decentralized open source technology that Ripple does not, just because Ripple owns 51 to 53% of all tokens does not make it centralized. People love to throw that at me all the time, and that's just not the case, guys. Do your research. I'm giving you guys a resource right here to give you the facts, right? So I just wanted to drop that on you guys because this is a question that a lot of people are asking right now. And especially with this lawsuit against Ripple and XRP, there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of people still believing that, Ethereum is the end all of smart contracts, and it will always be Ethereum that's going to win out. And there's nothing wrong with Ethereum. And Vitalik Buterin is this hero out there, which I believe. I regard Vitalik Buterin as a hero in this industry, but there still are questions that need to be answered about the Ethereum Alliance, about Consensus, about Joe Lubin. I mean, I respect Vitalik Buterin like hell, but I do not respect Joe Lubin. And there's some suspect things going on about Joe Lubin. Let's just get into some things, some of those things. So this was an interview with, I forget her name. She is Cathie. I forget her name, but this is an interview that she had with Joe Lubin here. And this is where he talks about these ties with JP Morgan, right? When I first got into Ethereum, I had no idea that JP Morgan was backing Ethereum from day one, basically, too. And this is what's coming out all of a sudden, this information that no one knew about, right? Even the original investors in Ethereum didn't know that there was this tie to JP Morgan. So let's just actually listen. JV tweeted this out. This is exactly why the SEC isn't going after Ethereum. The deep ties it has with JP Morgan. So, of course, they're trying to sue the biggest competitor, Ripple, into oblivion. Probably why majority of Congress aren't saying anything. Too much lobbying and money from JP Morgan and friends. Which, obviously JP Morgan has serious power over, politics, over the financial system, over, the whole global financial system, honestly. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, the two biggest banks out there, obviously they have a lot of power over everything, right? So let's just listen to this interview real quick, and then we'll talk about it after.
Consensus made a big acquisition this week and also got some investment. Congratulations. Tell us your big news.
So Consensus has been working with JP Morgan for quite a long time, more recently, to discuss how we might work together more intimately. And so the Quorum team is heavily engaged with us for at least a year to facilitate transition.
Quorum is JP Morgan, just so you guys know.
And we're working together on a shared roadmap that we've defined and will continue to define together. I can't say much more of a detailed nature about that right now, but we are working intimately with those people.
Mysteriously, the intellectual property for Infura and MetaMask was transferred to a different entity called CSI. And this was done secretly without the permission of the shareholders of Consensus.
No,
that transaction was illegal, then unfortunately all of those parties have invested in a company that does not own the intellectual property that it claims to. What we want to see, someone's been ripped off here. Either it's the people who have invested in Consensus Software Incorporated, or it's the original shareholders. And Joe Lubin needs to make these people whole.
So there's definitely some questions to be answered here. So Joe Lubin, with Consensus, and JP Morgan now, there needs to be an investigation, or there needs to be more transparency here, because it doesn't look good, right? From the outside looking in, it does not look good. And the fact that he's so secretive about all his dealings just leaves it up to us to speculate. And obviously that speculation is not going so well for him. So if he's not being shady, if he's not doing anything illegal, then be transparent. Let us know what you're doing with JP Morgan and all these dealings with JP Morgan. So let's move on to the next thing here. So John Deaton also so this is the video that had a little clip of this guy's video in that last video I showed, but this is this was on TikTok, and this got, I think, like 1.6 million views, guys. So this information is getting out there now. And John Deaton tweeted this out. Word is out. We are told JP Morgan sold Quorum to Consensus in August 2020, 4 months before the XRP lawsuit. What did JP Morgan buy? But did JP Morgan buy a controlling stake in CSI, becoming majority owner of the IP running Ethereum at the same time? So let's just watch this quick video. This is a TikTok, like I said, got 1.6 million views.
If you own any Ethereum, this is critical information. And unfortunately, this news is darker than anybody was hoping to hear. That is because new information was leaked that unveils corruption within the Ethereum ecosystem. And this is a system many thought to be corruption-proof. It all evolves around JP Morgan and this man right here. So strap in, because this is going to be a long one. The first thing you need to know is that this man, Joseph Lubin, is the co-founder of Ethereum. An early video was released of Lubin telling early investors of Ethereum how to hide their actions as crypto whales. This leads many to believe that Lubin has many crypto wallets and is disguising them, meaning he holds a larger position than originally thought. But here's where it gets crazy. It was revealed that Lubin not only was a co-founder of Ethereum, but the owner and founder of Consensus. Now hang in here with me, because this gets complicated, but I promise it all connects. Because Ethereum relies on a system called Infura, which is actually owned by Consensus. And Consensus is owned by Lubin himself. So he holds much more power in the Ethereum ecosystem than people ever imagined possible. So this does not look good for Ethereum, but unfortunately there is even more. You may be surprised to learn that Consensus also owns MetaMask and the intellectual property associated with it, or at least it did. That is because something insane happened in August of 2022. Mysteriously, the intellectual property for Infura and MetaMask was transferred to a different entity called CSI. And this was done secretly without the permission of the shareholders of Consensus. But unfortunately, that is still not all. Because there was one major stakeholder in this new company, CSI, that would shock you. And is the mega financial institution JP Morgan. They bought a controlling stake of CSI. This now means that a major financial institution owns the infrastructure that is critical to keeping Ethereum running. And all of this was done in total secrecy before whistleblowers and shareholders released this information to the public. So be careful when you believe that these blockchain protocols are corruption-proof, because unfortunately the truth is much darker. And this is a huge revelation for Ethereum, and unfortunately I believe we will see more revelations from other blockchains come in the future. So welcome to the Crypto.
So, I mean, some people may think, it's okay that JP Morgan owns some of the controlling stake in Ethereum. Maybe that's a bullish thing for Ethereum, right? Having one of the biggest central banks backing your cryptocurrency. But that would be one thing if they were, upfront about that from day one. But the fact that they've secretly done this, right, without telling anybody, without telling the investors of Ethereum, that's where I think it's shady, right? So, I mean, I'm just giving you guys the information. You can come to your own conclusions here, but this is getting interesting, and like he said there at the end there, you're going to get more and more information coming out of this in the coming weeks and months. So I guess we'll know more soon. So finally, I have this thing. So this is an Ethereum programmer, Peter, what's his name? Peter Peter Silgi. Nailed it. All right. He is a programmer for Ethereum, and he brought up some serious. He had a thread on Twitter that I believe was yesterday or the day before, where he talked about the issues involving the Ethereum network moving to the proof of stake system, and the complexities of trying to be. They should probably be more interoperable with other blockchains, but they're not, and they're kind of rushing this through, and it's causing issues right on the network. So Santiago Velez tweeted this about it. Move fast and break things is fine for social networks, but terrible for value. A tower of complexity eventually collapses under its own weight, another reason why a single network is unlikely to be the solution for all things. Interoperability for customized functions is the answer. And I couldn't agree more. This is why you need to have interoperability throughout all crypto, because that's centralized, right? If you have one blockchain trying to do it all, it's going to be overdone. It's going to be the system is going to be overloaded, and it's not going to work the way it should, right? This is why you have issues with Ethereum, right? This is why you have the gas fees that we have with Ethereum. This is why it's taking so long to move to proof of stake, because they've overloaded the system. And this is like I said, a programmer, a guy that works for Ethereum, right? Team led Ethereum. And he's pointing out these scalability issues, and that there are going to be problems moving forward with Ethereum and their move to proof of stake. I'm not going to read the whole thread. It's actually very complicated jargon here that he's talking about. So if you guys want to read this, go for it. It really points out some issues, though, that, like I said, these are questions that need to be answered, right? Is Ethereum a good investment? I own Ethereum, like I said, for full disclosure. I believe that Ethereum will win out in the end, but there needs to be some like I said, questions need to be answered around the founders, especially around Joe Lubin. I feel like that's where you have the issues. Joe Lubin and JP Morgan, that's where you're going to lose me, because, like I said, they've been calling XRP the banker's coin forever, but I feel like that was, a secret move to, get all the, the focus on XRP being the banker coin. Meanwhile, Ethereum was the one that was backed by the big bank from the beginning. So, it's a good argument to be said that, Ethereum is the banker's coin, right? Like I said, make your own conclusion here. Do your own research. I'm just giving you guys the information. So I will end the video there, but just remember to please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. But remember, I'm not a financial advisor. Please do not take anything I write or say as financial advice. This is for educational purposes only. And thanks, guys. And we'll see you on the next one.